Yes. Back again with the boys on the Big Five with Tip and Ty. We're into episode 7 already, man. This year is flying. We're also right on the money with how many podcasts we're putting out there, and each and every episode has been such a joy to make. It's also hear everyone's feedback on it. Again, I just want to say a big shout out to everyone that's been with us, be it from day one, be it from last week. Your input makes a big difference to us. Once again, I'm going to give a shout out to my father-in-law. He said that the Big Vibe has been a game changer for him. He says that he's been given a lot more topics to talk about in his social circles. So,
oh wow!
Credit to the Big Vibe, credit to him. Thank you for listening in. And I hope that's the same for a lot of you guys. You're getting out there, you're sparking conversation, you're getting a bit more perspective on everything in life, be it news, sport, and in matters of the heart, of course. So welcome again. This is going to be another jam-packed episode.
For sure.
We loved all your engagement from last week, and seeing how many of you guys actually went to and watch what you have the most interest in. So, as you know, we broke up our episode. We had the full hour thereabouts length episode, and then we broke it up into each section. So you had sports on its own, you had news on its own, you had matters of the heart on its own. So yeah, again, let us know if that's working for you guys, if you're enjoying the bite-sized versions. We're really looking to use all of that.
Yeah, so we're obviously going to continue down that path. We're going to be releasing the same thing in the four different episodes. I also just wanted to give a quick shout out to you, Tev. I must say that the video editing, the slide in between boards. Look, if you only listen to the podcast, Tev's video editing will kind of go by without you noticing. So check out on YouTube, just see what the man does, the hard work that he puts in. It looks so clean. It looks beautiful. I mean, really. So it's really sick. I mean, it obviously helps the podcast. I don't know if I would have been able to do that kind of thing. So yeah, big shout out to you. My mom as well. She said that she really likes how the videos flow. And she told me straight up, she's like, look, I wouldn't be listening if I didn't enjoy it. So, and she did ask me for a shout out. So I don't know if it's quite as organic as she would have liked, but there you go. But she did want to say that your video editing is, and I agree, it's super clean. So good job. Well done to you. Nice one. Thank you for
guys.
that.
Thank you guys. Yeah, that's what we're about. It's about learning, it's about experimenting and just having fun with it. I think that's the basis of why we started this podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to And we'll jump right into the first section, which we call News from Around the World. So, everybody that's been on social media, that's listened to the news, that's watched the news, has seen that the UK Prime Minister Liz Truss has resigned after 44 days in office. It has come as a bit of a surprise.
Was it like sudden? Was it just out of nowhere? Did you kind of see it coming?
I don't think she started off on the right foot. And I think what was really her Achilles heel was the mini budget speech that she gave. I saw a response from, I don't know if he's called a chancellor or essentially like the finance minister of the UK, where he essentially rebuked all of her propositions in the mini budget speech. And that obviously didn't go down well with the rest of Parliament. And I think that just was the final nail in her coffin. So she resigned, 44 days in office. And if you're on social media, you would have seen that. I think it was the Daily Mail or the Daily Star that put a live stream out. So it was a webcam and it had a picture of Liz Truss and it had a bunch of lettuce. So we had a lettuce ball, and the idea around the video was to see who would last longer. Would the lettuce outlast Liz Truss in office? And surprise, the lettuce actually outlasted. Around 2 weeks ago. So it ran for about 2 weeks. And the lettuce is still in fairly decent shape. Not so much for Liz Truss, unfortunately. So yeah, that is the big news that's coming out of the UK. We are already having a new Prime Minister. Everything has honestly happened so quickly. It's ridiculous how quickly we've come to this point. In terms of who's supposed to take over, there's still likely a Conservative member that's going to be in the race to take her spot. So that's kind of underway at the moment. And there's about 4 candidates that I've seen being presented or pitted to take her spot. The most notable one is Boris Johnson, who was the previous
Coming
MP.
back.
Yeah, he could come back for round 2, man.
Oh, wow,
so
okay.
he's one of those in the hat because, like everyone's seen, he's been able to do a job. I'm not going to say the job, but he's been able to do a job previously. So his name is in the hat. We also see Penny Mordaunt. I hope I've said that correctly. She's leader of the Commons, and she was the first to announce her bid to become the next Prime Minister. She's up in competition with Rishi Sunak, the former Chancellor, and he was the runner-up to Truss in the previous bid for MP. So I actually think he might take it. That's who the polls currently have as the favourite. And then we have Boris Johnson, obviously, who said farewell to his position shortly before the Queen had passed away, and the last name in it is Suella Braverman. Yeah, she's set to be the next Conservative Party leader in the summer.
Does it work that like, let's say the Conservatives are in power, that the next leader would be from the Conservative Party? Like, it's not like an opportunity for an opposing party to come in, right? It's kind of like an internal thing. It's not like a British citizen vote.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe that you essentially vote for a candidate from the ruling party. As far as I understand, I may be wrong. I will definitely check my facts on that. But for the purposes of this discussion, yes, it is the 4 candidates from the Conservative Party that are have put their names in for the ruling.
I've actually I've seen quite a lot of news related to obviously this. Quite a funny gif of Ronaldo walking out of Old Trafford, but they edited Truss's head onto it. Like, I thought that was pretty funny. But I saw quite a lot of news related to Brexit and how there was quite a big protest for Brexit, but essentially to come to an end. They were calling it like Brunited, or like to get back into the EU, some funny names like that. But there was that, and then the second article that I saw was kind of how, like, someone was basically like, there's now been 3 leaders that have tried to make Brexit work. I would imagine the person who proposed it, who was Cameron, right?
So
followed
Cameron,
by John Boris.
Prior to Boris was getting her name. The lady, I'll get it now. I'll actually get it now.
So but there's essentially been 4 leaders that have tried to make Brexit work, and it's been proven quite difficult. And the article that I read was maybe like that perhaps it's time to kind of accept that it might have been a failure, and to kind of try and reunite with the European Union. And with the matching protests that have been going on, I did see that kind of news, and I was just wondering if there was anything like to that, you know?
I think so. So the previous Prime Minister before Boris was Theresa May.
Yes.
She was the one that actually championed Brexit initially. And I think what worked in Liz Truss against Liz Truss was the fact that she didn't initiate these policies, the kind of these plans going forward, and she kind of had to run with it because she was appointed in the position. So she had to be the bearer of bad news and had to take the fall for it, unfortunately. Which I think might be something that Boris could use to his advantage to say, look, I had prior knowledge of this.
Yeah, I
kind
know
of
what's going on.
helped
Yeah.
spearhead this. I should pick up the pieces. It should be mine
Yes,
to
yes.
carry and see through. So be it
Okay.
either the reintegration of the UK into Europe, or to finalize Brexit, see it through, come up with
Yeah.
some secondary plans on how to fix this, because
Yeah.
things like the energy crisis, these are
Yes.
very pertinent things that have to be addressed now, and
Yeah,
we need to see
yeah.
action now.
Load shedding came
it's going
for
to be
you.
a very interesting. She thought I was the bad omen. I was like, isn't that a South African thing? I thought
I thought I left that
our jargon that we use back home. But yeah, apparently we could be seeing load shedding in the UK in the heart of winter. So that's like end of Jan, beginning of Feb, where it's the coldest period in the UK, and we could see load shedding for like half a day at
And
a
you
time.
get cold.
So
You get cold, I know. that.
man, I was already fighting for my life in South African winter. So
Now it's there.
prepared
Now
for
it's
me
there.
in UK winter, where it's winter. We're talking
Yeah.
more than the K-way, guys. This is
Yeah.
winter. This is
Serious
snow.
winter.
This is ice. This is not sleet. Yeah, there's levels to this thing. So hopefully, whoever the new prime minister is, they can come in, actually hit the ground running, implement policies, action these ideas, and actually get some backing, not only from the rest of Parliament, but from the UK population.
Yeah.
So,
I will
yeah,
just
I'll
say
be
before we
keeping
wrap that
tabs
up,
on
I
that.
think the big vibe lasted longer than Liz Truss. We've been longer than
Sure, you're growing
44
some
days,
trees in
haven't
that
we?
room, bro. There's a lot of shade coming, man. Yes,
But we
like-
did. I think we've been around longer than 44 days, haven't we? I think maybe not yet, but we will. Anyway, just thought
But
I'd
we
throw that in
will.
there.
So we'll put a ticker or a timer just to see how it lasts.
Next to the lettuce.
Next to the lettuce. Yeah, so credit to the big five, man. Going strong. Doesn't seem
Going
to be
strong.
any fallout here.
Yeah,
Things are looking
yeah.
good. So I'll keep you guys abreast of what's happening in UK politics, let you know how it all pans out, and an update on who we see is kind of the favorite to become the new PM, and if they have a good memorandum that they're going to bring to the table and implement for the UK population.
And I think we will also
so that-
be doing a politics-based episode in the very near future.
Oh, yes.
Where
yes.
we're hoping to have a special guest on for that as well, where we speak about different political kind of systems and just kind of getting like I would say expert. He probably wouldn't call himself an expert, but I'd say like a more, let's say, insightful look into this. So just listen out for that. We are planning something
Agreed.
like that.
Agreed. Yeah, that's really going to be a very interesting episode. So keep your ears and eyes peeled for that. And the second part of Around the World is this week. We obviously know that the headline news, aside from politics, is Halloween. Everybody loves Halloween. Trick-or-treating, or for some really scary, gory movies that you can watch in the cinema at 11 o'clock at night. Back home, we had those real brave hearts that would go to Kempton Park Hospital at midnight and seek, to find out the real ghosts that live and patrol around that abandoned hospital. So for the purpose of this conversation, we wanted to find out why it is that people celebrate Halloween. Where did it come from, and what are the customs practiced around the world? So I did a bit of digging, and I found that Halloween's origins can be traced back to ancient Celtic festival known as Samhain, which was held on November the 1st, now with contemporary calendars. It is believed that on the day, the souls of the dead returned to the homes, so people dressed in costumes and lit bonfires to ward off all evil spirits.
Was it like hiding in plain sight kind of thing?
Yes. Yeah, it was. And then obviously it got commercialized. So it was initially an Irish tradition. Now that you mentioned it, it was actually spoken about on our tour in Ireland, where it was a custom that was practiced just within mainland Ireland, and then I think a few tourists got wind of it, and it became a lot more popularized and a lot more commercial in its representation once it went out into the Western world, like in the States, as an example.
Cool.
So that's where it originally started, and we have quite a few different ways in which it's celebrated around the world. So a quick roundup of how certain countries celebrate it. So we have Ireland, where it started, with it being called Samhain. Dublin is usually the city that hosts a parade every year, and Colcannon, I believe I've mentioned that correctly, is mashed potatoes mixed with kale or cabbage and barmbrack. Sweet potato, bread, and dried fruits are the traditional foods for the day. Barmbrack is used for fortune telling. Charms are added to the loaf, and your fortune for the next year depends on which charm you find in your piece of the loaf.
Oh, wow.
Very interesting to see there. Scotland uses sausages as their traditional Samhain food since the ancient times. And in fact, the Witchcraft Act of 1735 actually made it illegal to eat pork pastries on Halloween. This has since been re-looked at, revoked. Again, we move a little further afield there, and we in Japan, where Kawasaki has a Halloween parade. It's usually for kids, and celebrations have an adult overtone to it, they say here. So there's no trick-or-treating, but there's plenty of cosplay and plenty of parties that happen on the day. Celebrations are said to have caused some chaos in Tokyo already this year, and the day itself hasn't even arrived.
Hasn't even happened yet.
To Italy, where people celebrate modern imported celebration of Halloween, alongside the traditional Organisade. I hope I said that correctly. It translates to an All Saints Day, and it falls on the 1st or the 2nd of November. So people generally celebrate a day or two in advance, and during Organisade, traditional traditions are that the souls of the deceased come back to visit the living relatives. So people decorate cemeteries with certain flowers, and they leave food out for visiting spirits. And then one that I think a lot of people know is the one in Mexico, Dia de los Muertos, which is the Day of the Dead. Exactly. A colorful fusion of traditional indigenous customs and European traditions. Dia de los Muertos is a 2-day celebration of ancestors and deceased family members, where the spirits of the dead come back to visit their families, and the living celebrate them with flowers, festivals, sweets, and images decorated with skulls and skeletons. So, that's just some history for everyone out there.
Nice.
Are you doing anything for Halloween? Is Halloween even considered in Thailand?
It is. There's a few, I've noticed there's a few kind of Halloween themed parties and stuff like that. My school doesn't celebrate Halloween, doesn't really believe in it. So we won't be doing anything from a schooling perspective, which my students are quite upset about. They wanted to make a haunted house, but I mean, such is life. You've got to deal with disappointment. Kids, I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to teach them. But
that's full of hard knocks there.
I mean, I told them they can go find other things to do. I do feel sorry for them, but anyway, it's me personally. I don't think I'll do anything. I've mentioned it on the pod before, and you know very well that I don't do well with these things. I get frights so easily, man. Like I even given myself a fright a few times, like in the recent. I'm like, why am I so edgy? But no, I don't think I'll be doing anything. How about you? You got any plans?
Okay. Nothing planned from us, nothing on paper. I don't know, but perhaps there will be a movie marathon of the movie Halloween, since there's so many. I think they've just released the final one, or they're releasing the final one with Michael Myers, with the mask. And,
yes.
The story there. So it's a classic, like a cult classic slasher film. So I might watch all of that. In my neighborhood, there are quite a few families with small kids, so I think there'll be trick-or-treating, so we might put out a few treats.
Okay.
I don't know what the trick part of trick-or-treating is. I actually need to find out what that is. Do they do a trick before you give them a treat? Like,
no, it's if you don't. You don't know this. You're talking about all these other countries. You're talking about all these other countries and the traditions, but you don't know the normal. You don't know. Okay, so basically what they do is...
I've left it to the master. Okay. Yeah.
They come, they knock on your door, they ask for a treat. If you don't give them a treat, then they pull a trick on you. Then they'll like egg your house or throw toilet paper or something. Okay. That's how it works, yeah.
Yes, I've seen that. Okay, so I'll be sure to put a lot of candy out for all of the lovely kids around the block. Yeah, because I see... in our supermarkets, they're big on Halloween. So you got masks, you have sweets, you have a whole aisle dedicated to Halloween. People have the spraying like spider web. They've got lanterns. They've got candy that they've marketed to be Halloween. So as an example, I really got stuck in here. So Halloween type candies.
Okay, I see.
Gums, things like that.
Okay.
That just add to the day. So we'll keep an eye out. Let us know what you guys are going to be doing for Halloween. If you're into any of the traditional trick-or-treating, do you guys like dressing up? Are you going to parties? What is essentially on your agenda for Halloween this week? We'd love to hear from you guys. So like, subscribe, let us know on Instagram, TikTok. And if you're stepping out, remember that we are found on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We're going to have this video on YouTube. We have our website, and I think we mentioned pretty much everything. But that's a roundup for the first section, and we'll be heading into section 2.